me to
Okay,
turn this
welcome
into
back.
a
You're with Michael
highlight,
Crosby. I'm a
make a comment to it,
gubernatorial
or even an
candidate,
action item.
California. Real
So
quick, I
as I'm
want to
going
talk
through
about
this, I'm highlighting
archiving.
different
I
parts of
really
the
do
conversation.
want to talk about archiving because there's a lot of stuff that's very important for us to understand. Now, frankly, there's a lot of people I don't think understand what's been transpiring last time in our federal election. And, quite frankly, I don't think a lot of people understand about the powers of archiving. Now, I personally offered to make archives for both main political parties. I offered to build one for the Republican Party. I offered to build one for the Democratic Party for free. For free. How about that? Now, that's a little piece of stewardly, generosity, so to speak. And you would not believe how difficult it was. You want to hear the funny part? It was more difficult to try to get logic coming from Democrats than Republicans. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Confronted directly with, well, let's build the most comprehensive archive for the political party. I can do this. I'm going through lots and lots of computers. I'm buying truckloads, literally truckloads of computers and equipment to go through to get the material basically that I need to deal with presentation involving many types of, legal research and the need to capture data from one medium and convert it into another medium for presentation for court cases. This was necessary because I already had a backlog at the time, which was an enormous amount of work that kept reoccurring in the archive. So it's really interesting that we have all these people that literally just don't seem to understand about the power of archiving and the power of things that are important, literally, to archiving. And I don't think people understand the different types of cartridges and media that you have to work with to basically get the great samples, so that you can get a hold of all this information and then realistically quantify it, convert it into math logic and symmetries. And basically, these people were really hard. So it's like this huge tragedy. It's like a huge tragedy, because here I'm trying to do something and be able to build something that's really good. And I run into all this friction. Equate this out. How is it that you could have, say, for instance, the Democratic Party not be interested in master archiving, in archiving? How is that possible? How is that possible? This is an education of all of a sudden, wait a minute, why are these people afraid of data? Why are these people afraid of information, of evidence? What's going on here? And to tell you the truth, I can only spend a certain amount of time on it, and I was like, really my nose was bent. I'm like, hey, I'm offering to do this for free. I'm offering to do something for the common good of our nation. And I could not believe the negative responses that I was receiving. It was incredible. There were a few people that eventually got back and talked about, comprehensive archiving might actually come in handy. I think eventually you even had, what's her name there? Miss Clinton. Hillary actually finally came out publicly once and said, master archiving might come in useful. Because as it is right now, is there a master archive with the Democratic Party? Where is it? Where is it? What's going on? And there's a problem. There is a very, very serious problem. Because people just don't understand the power of archiving, the power of knowledge, because there is where you also have the power of quantifying truth. And this is really important, because if we're going to be able to have the tools that we need to succeed, to move forward with success in life, we must have generalized archiving. That's, hey, whoever wants to put in, put in. And you know what? A place that you need to store your evidence, well, that's crucial. Because right now we have a system, the justice system is blacklisting people. It's mind-boggling. The justice system is having people get elected and create laws that are based upon Royal German Empire weaponization. In other words, the term code enforcement, I don't think people understand where that comes from. They go, oh, so people say, oh, the Germans invented that. Actually, that was a deliberate invention of the Royal German Empire. It's designed purposely to destabilize people's lives. That was the underlying prerequisite to the beginnings of the operations to design these various governmental mechanisms to actually diabolically oppose people themselves, in particular the United States, Russia. Ways to create mass mechanisms of entrapment. We're talking about starting off with the base example of the Venus flytrap. Have you ever seen that flag? The Venus flytrap. That's a good one. Because this is where it begins. When you're looking at the origins in understanding how these people, again, the Royal German Spy Institute, along with their various partners, syndicates and whatnot. So here we have something that people are not equating in their heads. They don't understand that our justice system, every time you go to court, you're dealing with laws that were engineered by vast numbers of people.
Hello, Moto.
And it's quite incredible. And there goes the point.